Well, hey there. Thank you so much for tuning in and for giving me a couple minutes of your time. I can't believe that it was nearly 8 weeks ago that we made the decision that we wouldn't be having services in person anymore at our church buildings because of the COVID-19 crisis. And gosh, I got to be honest with you, in some ways this 2 months has flown by, and in other ways it has dragged on like you wouldn't believe, wondering when is this season going to be over. And so my guess is, kind of like me, you were probably pretty excited last week to hear Governor Holcomb's instructions of giving churches the green light to open our doors again. And we are excited about that. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. But first, I just want to say we never actually closed our doors. We may have closed the doors to our physical building, but the church has been alive and well throughout this process, which is just a great reminder that the church isn't about the buildings. And I'm just so thankful for you all who have participated, who've been a part of giving financially, who've been a part of engaging in community groups, who've been a part of serving throughout our church body. And you have enabled us, our church staff has been working tirelessly round the clock to continue connecting with people, to continue engaging in our local communities, serving at the food pantry, handing out free pork, supporting our ministry partners. And to be honest, I've just kind of been blown away over the last 2 months to believe that our church has not only stayed together, but has in some ways thrived during this season. And so what a blessing that has been, and what an encouragement to me. And I hope it's been an encouragement to you as well. Now, we've heard from many of you wondering when is it that the church is actually going to reopen. And so, as I said, I want to give a little bit of kind of guidance to that. And I want you to know that we as pastors, as elders, we have approached this in an incredibly prayerful way, trying to consider what our vision of a church is, of creating a community where all people can connect to God's story, trying to consider the governor's recommendations, trying to consider what's best for all people, trying to consider our current, situation and infrastructure here. And so before I kind of share what our date is going to be, I also want to give you a few thoughts that we have that have guided this whole discussion. As I mentioned, our vision, a big piece of our vision is creating relevant environments that are engaging for folks when they come in. And so that means we want people to feel warm. We want them to feel welcomed. Those of you who serve on guest services, you do an amazing job every week of helping people to feel like they are belonging when they come into our church building. And so, we look at that and we say, will we be able to do that under the current government restrictions? We would need to have everybody wearing face masks. We would need to block off every other row. We would need to put 6 feet between families who are sitting in our spaces, which means that our auditoriums would be at less than 50% capacity in order to kind of manage and maintain that. People would need to file in and file out. There wouldn't be opportunity to really engage with one another. And additionally, if people come and we've filled up our available spaces, we would need to turn people away. And I can't in my wildest dreams imagine telling somebody who's coming to church, we're sorry, there's no room for you here. So that's been one of the things that we've been trying to consider. Another one is children's ministry. My goodness, over the last 2 months, my appreciation, which was already pretty big for our children's ministry, has only grown all the more because we've got an 18-month-old, we've got a 4-year-old, and our 7-year-old who's not quite as wild as the other two. But I mean, trying to engage with church on a Sunday morning with our kids of those ages present has been incredibly hard, and a dog barking in the background. And so the realization is that the governor has instructed that children's ministries in churches need to follow the same restrictions that schools are on. And schools are currently closed through the end of the month of June. So that means we would not be able to offer children's ministry if we were to open our doors in the coming days. So we've taken that into consideration. We've also considered that even when we get to a point of being able to open our doors, there are people in our congregation who are of an elderly age or who have high-risk situations, who have pre-existing conditions, who might not feel safe being able to come in. And they're really relying on us being able to have online services at the same time as having in-person services. Now, that's something we're not currently set up to do. I'm really thankful we've been able to do our online services, but in order to do that, we've grabbed cameras from both campuses. We have lines running throughout our Batesville auditorium. We just don't have the infrastructure. Now, the good news is we applied for a grant about 3 weeks ago from the Center for Congregations, and we just got word this week that we were approved for that grant. And that grant's going to allow us to put some remote cameras into our Batesville facility because it was pre-wired for cameras when we built this space. So that's coming soon, but it's not up and running yet, nor do we have the volunteer base yet to be able to manage that. Which means if you have any interest in tech, if you have any interest in cameras, please reach out to us. And we could use that at both of our campuses, quite honestly, Greensburg and Batesville. We would love to engage with you and help you, train you, give you the training you need so that you can help us as we share these messages and the services. But we need to be able to have online services concurrently with our in-person live services when we open our doors again, and we are not ready to do that yet. We are in the process of getting there, but we're not there yet. So in light of all of those things, and as I said, with a lot of prayer, as pastors and elders, we have come to the conclusion that we believe June 28th is the date we need to be shooting for reopening our doors. Now, I realize for some of you, that seems way far out there. For others of you, you can't believe we're going to open that soon, and others of you are probably somewhere in between. And I just ask that you consider that we are trying to do what's best for everybody involved, considering the needs of our local communities, considering the needs of everyone in our congregation, and we really believe that is the best date to shoot for. Is it possible we would open sooner? It's possible, probably not likely. Is it possible we would open later? Possibly. It really depends on what happens with the government as far as the number of new cases in the state of Indiana, if they're seeing the decline that they're hoping to see. But we feel that June 28th is a realistic date to shoot for, and we're going to begin marching toward that, begin building up our volunteer base again, and getting ready to open our doors for that date. So I hope you can join with me in celebrating that we have an end in sight and it is coming soon, and we are so excited. I am probably more excited than any of you to be together again in person. I can't wait for June 28th to come, and I hope you'll be able to be with us when that date gets here. So hope to see you then. Have a great week. Stay healthy. Keep washing those hands, and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.